Welcome to a video from DigitalLifestyle.com, and this video we're going to have a look at this Netgear R8500 AC5300 Smart Wi-Fi router. This packs a lot of features into this router, and the way I'm going to do it in this video is I'm just going to unbox it, connect it up to my network, and then really have a look at some of the settings and play about with it and see what we can do with it. These routers can be complex things, so I won't show everything, but just the things I find as I'm setting it up. So here's the router, and as you can see, relative to the size of my hand, it's actually quite a large device. It's certainly bigger than any of the sort of domestic home routers that I've used in the past, but like I say, it does pack a lot of features into it. So here on the back we've got the large antennas, we've got internet connection to connect to your cable modem, your ADSL modem, or whatever connection you've got. We've got 6 ports, Ethernet ports, which I'll explain more about these in a sec. It comes with a power adapter which plugs in there and an Ethernet cable. So let me just give you some of the specs before I try to set it up. Quad core, 4 streams of Wi-Fi and data, tri-band Wi-Fi, 6 Ethernet LAN ports, and these 2 ports here, Netgear say that these are, you can combine devices to aggregate 2 ports for faster file transfer, so I think that's binding those 2 ports together for some real high speed transfers. It's got 4 active antennas, it supports dynamic quality of service, it's MIMO compatible, ReadyCLOUD app USB for sharing data. I guess there must be some ports on it somewhere else. Yes, here are 2 USB ports, USB 2, USB 3 for high speed access, and you can then share those out. And it's got parental controls, VPN support, whatever. So let me get this fired up, I'll get it connected to my existing network, and we'll have a look what it can do. Right, I've got it plugged in and connected up to my router. And actually, when I finish the video, I'll just show you what it looks like. It's plugged in because it's got lights all over it, showing all the different statuses. But I'm going to skip that for now, and I'm going to connect up to that that device. And first thing you can see here is the signal strength is higher than my other devices, and there's a Sky router and there's an older router connected that I've got for testing. And first of all, you can see that the strongest signal by far is the Netgear, so that's a great sign. Good strong Wi-Fi signal, and which is what you want, because when you get weak signal you start to get dropouts and slowdowns and everything else. So that's what you need. You need that good strong connection, and that's a really good thing. And I haven't optimised the placing of the aerials or anything like that. I imagine I could get it even more if I did that. So I'm just connecting up to it now. There's a sticker with the SSID and the password on there, which you're going to need to connect for the first time. Of course, once you're in, you can configure it and change it to whatever you want. Okay, so it's detected my existing router, which is okay, and that's exactly how I'm going to do it. I'm going to connect that way and leave my existing router untouched. We'll have a look at port forwarding. Yes, we will have port forwarding. So what that's going to do is basically just change it into access point mode. So it'll mean it just passes through the connections from my Sky router to my devices, which means the SSID will be what my Sky router is set up, and really this Netgear box will be sort of transparent in the process. I actually don't want to do that, and I want the it in router mode so I can store off the functionality. So it's asking me if I want to do that. That's effectively to disconnect everything from a Skybox and get it to go through here. And for the purpose of this review, that's what I was going to say I'll do. I'm only going to just plug this surface in, I think. So it's going to set it in router mode. Yes, I can disable it. Actually, I'm going to say no. I don't want to disable it. Okay, so there we've got all the default details. That password was what was on the sticker. So we can get the Genie app, and we can also have the ReadyShare Vault app. We'll have a look at the Genie app maybe on my phone in a sec. Let's go through the settings on here first. It's actually downloading the ReadyShare, but I'm not bothered about that. Okay, so there's a firmware for support, some several fixes. I'm not going to do the firmware. If this was yours, I would recommend you do that, but as I'm only just setting it up to have a look at it, to test it, then I'm not going to bother. Okay, so we're now at the dashboard. You can see our internet status is good, so that means our connection to our DSL, and the DSL is going out to the internet. It's showing us our Wi-Fi details, attached devices, parental controls, ReadyShare, and guest network. So you've already seen that the signal strength is very strong on that, and I think that's an important. You can see it's the strongest one. That's my phone, which is next to me. So it's the strongest signal on here, so that's really good that we've got a good strong signal. So in the setup things we can do, like we can change the IP addresses. This is getting its IP address from my Sky router. So this is where you get it from your ISP. So normally you wouldn't really touch this too much. Let's have a look at the wireless settings. So we can control the channels, the speed connections, 100 megabits. I'll try downloading the file after. We'll just have a quick check of see what the speed's like. Well, this is where we can set our security settings, the WPA 2PSK. Please don't leave a comment on YouTube saying you can see my network password. This is just the default one, and it will be gone when I return this, but after the review. But so yeah, we've got the 5 GHz mode enabled, and we've got 2 broadcasting channels on there. So let's have a look what actually is broadcasting. So there's the one there, the 5G one, and we're also seeing the non-5G one and a second 5G one. So we've got 3 areas. So you can split the devices up to be whichever channel suits you the best. I've often found that really it doesn't make that much difference which channels you've got unless you've got a heavily congested network. So we've got plenty of security options there. So there you can see we've got devices connected, and what I'll do is I'll connect my phone up shortly and then we'll see what that's like. But there you can see this Surface Pro 4 is connected, the IP address it's got in MAC address. So you can, that means that with access control I can enable or disable devices on there. So this Surface Pro is allowed, but I could block this Surface Pro by turning on the access control, and I can block specific devices. So if you're installing this in a location where you want to restrict to a certain set of devices to use, maybe to use the wireless, then you can do that, and you've got full control over that. So you've got allow or block. So you could block everything and only allow certain devices, and that's these options, or you can block everything, or you can allow everything through and only block selected devices. So if someone's got a bad device on the network, you can block it, or you can do it the way around where everything's blocked apart from devices which you allow. So this is where you see that list of connected devices and the connection type. So another thing you can do is enable quality of service. So this is things like if you've got streaming or video conference, something like that, it takes precedence. So another thing it has is quality of service. So the idea of quality of service is if you've got something like video conferencing that you want to have priority over other traffic on your network. So let's say that you've got video conferencing and someone else is doing big download of files, then you can enable quality of service so that the video conferencing gets preference over the download. So it doesn't increase your bandwidth or anything, but it says, okay, you video streaming service, you get all the bandwidth you need, and what's left can go to the other devices, and you can enable that quality of service through there. And it will even do a check to define your bandwidth. So there you can see I've just done a test. It's picked up my bandwidth, which is actually a bit lower than I would have expected, but there's other stuff going on at my network at the moment. It's normally around 45 to 50 on the download, but you can then say, okay, that's my bandwidth, and then I want to specify these different services to have a different control over it. So there's actually an option to see what bandwidth is in use, but that doesn't. We haven't done anything with it yet, so I'll start to put some traffic through it, and we'll see. I can also we can do a bit of music streaming or something like that, and we'll see what it does. Okay, so we'll come back to that when we have a look at that. So that's quality of service. There's a whole, I mean, that's the whole subject in its own right, but at least you know you can enable that. There are parental controls, and you can do that through the app, the Netgear app, and you can also do that through a download of a PC. So you can set up what's allowed and what's not allowed. I'll give that a try on my phone once I've got it connected, and we'll come back to that and have a look what that can do. The other thing we've got is USB sharing out, or data sharing in general. So ReadyCLOUD enables you to share data from this device to the cloud. So you can plug a USB drive in, or a USB hub, something like that, into your router, and then access that through the internet. The other options you can do is share a printer, or share a vault, which is like a local network storage. So that again is really easy to do. You plug your USB port in and you can just share it out from there. So if you've got a USB drive with all your folders on, photos on, or media or anything like that, you can share it through there, so you don't need a dedicated server. There's also a guest network which you can set up, which creates a new network which is separate to, or appears to be separate to the existing one. So you and your family can use the normal one, and when someone comes around and says, can I borrow your Wi-Fi key, you can give them access to this guest network and a Wi-Fi key that's not your standard Wi-Fi key. And with this box unticked there, this allow guests to see each other, it actually means that each person can't go browsing the network for other devices. They only see each other, and it isolates them. So it's a great way of being able to give out a bit of Wi-Fi access to people, and without having your core network passwords. So great in offices and things like that. So a very handy feature when I use myself, and my family always wonder why I've got guest one, but it just makes it easier that you can give it out and you don't have to worry about anybody trying to mess about getting into your system. Now, a couple of advanced features I just wanted to highlight. You can block keywords or domains on a schedule or permanently. So if you do it on a schedule, you can say that these keywords are blocked between these hours. It could be gaming sites or whatever you want to do, and you can have it so it's always blocked or never blocked. It's up to you. So you can apply that. So you can say that no one can go on these sites anytime or a range of times, but certain IP addresses, i.e. you, can. So if there's some gaming website you don't want your children on, you can block it, but then you can enable it on your devices. So a nice and simple way of adding a bit of security to your network and a bit of filtering on there without it being too complicated. The same goes with services as well. You can block services, and what that means is it's doing it by ports. So if you don't know what this means or ports means, you probably won't need to use it, but you can block certain things. So email uses a particular port, or Skype uses a different port, or some internet chat uses a different port. You can block it from here. So if you know about ports, you'll know what I'm talking about. And yeah, you've got schedules on that, so you can choose. So at the weekend, maybe your kids can go on the gaming sites and they can't during the week. And you can even turn on email notifications, so that if something's going on, you get logs through there as well. You can get stats as well. You can get your router stats, so you can see how long it's been on, how long it's been up for, how many connections and that kind of things. And you can even look at your log files so you can see what's going on there. Finally, just dipping down into the advanced setup, there's a huge amount of setup: port forwarding, dynamic DNS, VPN. So what this means, port forwarding is a way of inbound requests coming to your router and they get passed to this router, to the Netgear router. So it could be if you're setting a server up, something like that, setting your own mail server up, web server, or a gaming server, something like that. You can have that. So the requests come into the internet to your home router and then get passed to here, and this fully supports that port forwarding. I've used it to set up things like remote desktop back onto my server or that kind of thing. Something else which is also quite handy is you can have dynamic DNS services as well. So you can have a fixed DNS setting so that it doesn't use your ISP or the ISP's DNS setting. This works with Netgear servers to give you a fixed IP using something like no IP, and that means that you always know the IP of your home router even when you're out and about. It also supports VPN, virtual private network, so that means that you can from outside of your home you can create a VPN connection, virtual private network, between your outside device and your home router, and it's like being plugged into your home router. So you can plug it. So effectively, I could take this service out with me, or use a 4G through a phone, VPN into my Netgear router, and then it's the same as me being at home. I can access all the services at home: security cameras, printers, media servers, that kind of thing, and that fully supports that. And that's actually a really handy feature. It supports remote management, so you can manage it externally, which is quite handy. We've got UPnP for connecting devices that need to get out onto the internet. If you've got a Plex server, something like that, the Plex server is a media server that you can access over the internet, and it will use UPnP to discover how it can get out over the network, and this supports that as well. It supports IPv6. We've got traffic metering. And this is what I saw earlier on, Ethernet port aggregation. So what this does, if your devices support that, it will aggregate these two ports together for faster connections. So if you've got a server, you can aggregate the connections to that server together. So those are all the settings. I'm just going to let's get my phone connected. So there you can see my phone is connected, and I connect it to the other 5G network, and like I said earlier, I've got access control over these, so I can enable blocking of these devices. So now I've got my phone connected, so I'm just going to log in on there. So this is the app that, so you don't have to use a browser, you can use an app. There's an Android and iOS app. So you can see I've got a network map, there's my phone, the Surface, and the Netgear router back to my main router, and I can do all the settings that you saw through there in this. I've got a little nice QR code to connect as well. So there's my parental controls section that I was telling you about. So parental controls using OpenDNS, so that I think I do actually have an OpenDNS now. I'm not going to set that up now, but the idea of that is OpenDNS is a DNS service that supports that rather than using IP as DNS, it uses the OpenDNS, which supports parental controls, and that's what we're doing with that. I'm not going to set that up on here. So you can see through this app, though, I just wanted to show on this app, you can control everything through here. We can reboot the router, we can do analytics, we can share out those ports and everything else. So just to finish off now, I'm going to just relocate the camera, just show you some of the lights on it, because I think it looks quite impressive. But I think this is just a quick sort of unboxing and guide to what this router can do. Really, performance, it's hard to judge from the initial setting up. You've seen the extra fast or the extra Wi-Fi range that it's got, but I know it's fast router as well, you see. So here you can see it powered on. I've got these lights indicating the network activity, so nice little lit up aerials as well. You can see here the port activity, if you had activity on there. At the front there we've got options to turn the LEDs off, WPS, and turn the Wi-Fi off as well. So WPS is a nice quick way of connecting your devices up. So that's the router. I know I haven't gone into a huge amount of detail on performance because I can't really test that until later, but I'll include a written review on thedishlifestyle.com where I test some file transfers and things like that. But you can see the initial, this is a high performance router, lots of power, great signal, lots of flexibility in the setups, VPN, quality of service, parental controls and guest networking. So a really flexible and powerful device. Go onto the blog digitallifestyle.com, which will have the price and some results of my tests. So thanks for watching this video, and we'll see you on the next one.